British Prime Minister David Cameron has promised more financial aid to Libya's new rulers on a visit to Tripoli. He's there with French President Nicolas Sarkozy in support of the regime their warplanes helped put into power. Well, artist Maria Fanoshna is keeping across developments and joins me live now from Tripoli. Maria, what is this visit all about? What's being said?
Well, Alice, French President Nicolas Sarkozy and British Prime Minister David Cameron are here in Libya, first of all, to show their support for the country's new authorities, for the National Transitional Council, both political and financial, since this visit comes just days before Libya's oil deliveries will be resumed, and also military support. Not surprisingly that these two leaders have become the first to visit Gaddafi-free Libya. These two countries, France and Britain, have played a crucial role in the current Libyan revolution that led to the colonel's overthrow. They were among those who pressed for NATO action to protect civilians against Gaddafi's troops this February. A French warplane was literally the first to fly in the air campaign over Libya to endorse a no-fly zone over the country. France was the first country to recognize the National Transitional Council, Libya's new authority. And these two countries have all the time repeatedly been claiming that they are supporting the rebels, and they've been helping them since the beginning of this uprising, this march. Here in Tripoli, both Sarkozy and Cameron have announced that they will continue helping the rebels. Particularly, Nicolas Sarkozy has said that NATO will continue bombing Libya and military facilities here in Libya till the rebels take control over the whole of the country. Fighting still continues over at least 4 Gaddafi strongholds, including the colonel's hometown Sirte, some 600 kilometers east of the capital Tripoli, and Bani Walid in the south of Tripoli. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign ministry has announced today that they will call for a non-fly zone to be lifted since it's no longer aimed at protecting civilians. Just ahead of these two leaders' visit here to Tripoli, the head of the National Transitional Council, Mustafa Abdul-Jalil, has pledged that both Sarkozy and Cameron will be safe. He's mentioned that because security situation in the country, here in the capital Tripoli, remains very tough, very difficult, very complicated. And still, while there still remain several pockets all over Libya where still held by Gaddafi's forces, even in the capital, it's not equally held by the rebels, and not all the districts here in Libya are supporting the new authorities. Here's my report about that.
A month after Tripoli fell into rebels' hands, those who backed the old regime remain defiant, but fearful. In parts of the city, the rebels' triumphant campaign feels like it's never happened, or did so somewhere else.
We will do anything for Muammar, only Muammar, even if we have to give our lives.
Fervent support for the ousted leader dissolves once they see our camera.
People here like Muammar Gaddafi.
We are television, so could you tell it on camera?
No.
Why?
This is danger.
It's the same situation with others too.
Gaddafi's 100% good.
We don't want this revolution. We don't know the rebels.
We want them to go away.
We are from television, so but could you tell it on camera?
No, thanks. If I appear in front of the camera, they will send a bullet to my head. The criminals, you don't know them? You call them the rebels. Hey guys, do you remember Ihab, the black guy? He was arrested a few days ago, after he appeared on TV. Don't do that.
New flags, new slogans, new speeches. The rebels were out celebrating again this week when the head of the National Transitional Council, Libya's new authority, arrived in the capital before large crowds, leaving Libyans in no doubt about who's ruling here. Those who don't support Mustafa Abdul-Jalil and who we used to see all across the city proudly waving green flags just weeks ago, backing Gaddafi, now try not to leave their own backyards.
Here they are afraid if they are go out, they will die directly, because many military has guns.
Gaddafi is effectively gone. The new authorities have settled down here in the capital, Tripoli. People are chanting, that is new, free country. But it seems that there is at least one thing that still remains of old Libya: fear.
One youngster finally agrees to talk.
Tripoli is now under the control of the National Transitional Council, and we don't feel we have freedom to talk or to express our opinion. If we say something in favour of Gaddafi, they can kill us and arrest us. Of course, many are in fear.
The 19-year-old says many of his friends have been arrested recently for making critical statements about new regime. Ironically, we are talking just a kilometre away from one of Gaddafi's top-secret jails for political prisoners, known as Abu Slim.
The rebels, they only represent themselves, not the Libyan people. This revolution started with killings to intimidate through fear. Their hands are covered in blood.
Amnesty International has recently accused both Gaddafi's regime and the one which replaced it of committing war crimes, including killings and torture of military, prisoners and civilians. Fears are being felt by some here that more is in store. Marif Noshina, RT, Tripoli, Libya.